I'm Elliott Wald, hypnosis expert and addiction specialist, and welcome to my How to Influence a Loved One to Seek Help with Their Addiction mini-series. Understanding. The easiest way to support a loved one or family member who has an addiction is to understand exactly what they're going through, to walk in their shoes, if you like, to see it from their perspective. Let me put it this way. There isn't anybody with an addiction who started out with the intention of having an addiction. That's the first thing to remember. When they started off, they did it socially. It was a bit of fun. They did it with their friends. It was a Friday night. It was once a month, once a fortnight, once a week. It began to increase the frequency they used. And then, as life carried on, they started doing it on a Friday or Saturday. Then it became a weekday. And then they began to have triggers in their life. Stress, arguments, rewards, doing well in life. And they turn to using to cope or to deal with that event that's going on. So a trigger happened and they would use. A trigger happened and they would use. And they did this over and over and over again until eventually, where they are now, they developed a full-blown habit, a full-blown addiction. They all thought it was fun in the beginning. They never saw it coming. I mean, here's the honest answer. If you ask anybody with an addiction today, did you think when you first started using that you would end up using 4 times a week, 5 times a week, 7 times a week? No, they didn't. So the first step is understanding them. They didn't choose to get to where they are. I know that's frustrating, but they didn't choose to get where they are. So let's step into their shoes for a moment. This is what it feels like. It's like a mosquito bite. You've had a mosquito bite when you've been on holiday before, and it itches. It really itches. And you know that you shouldn't scratch it. And you try with all your might. You try and resist that itch. You try and resist it. You focus all your attention on it. And for periods of time, while you're focusing your attention on not scratching, you don't scratch. But at some point, you're distracted. At some point, something happens in your life where you suddenly forget about the mosquito bite, but it's still itching, and you suddenly forget not to scratch it, and you end up scratching it. And as you scratch it, it begins to itch more, and you scratch it more. And that's what it's like for your loved one who has an addiction. It's like they have this need, this compulsion, this desire that becomes so overwhelming that that's the only thing they go to. They've taught themselves over and over and over. So you need to understand them. You need to understand that this wasn't their choice to get to the position they're in in order to seek help. Remember, the whole job of this mini-series is for you to help influence them to seek help. So understanding.